Greetings, I'm Maggie Moon. Thank you so much for joining me today for this very special interview where I am going to be engaging in an interview with a person that I truly admire. He is a person that I go to in my personal life when I have some of my own questions, particularly if it's related to the grade work within the Order of Phosphorus. And he is just such a great person, and I am so happy to introduce you all to him. So please help me in welcoming Eric. Greetings, Eric. Thank you so very much for being here. I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me, Maggie. It's really nice to talk to you, and I'm happy to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am 48 years old. I live in the Denver area, particularly Lakewood. Most of my adult life, I've done skilled labor, such as finish carpentry, professional window cleaning, and other things. I've worked for the state. I have 5 children and 8 grandchildren. And I very much love living in Colorado near the mountains. Spent a lot of time out in the woods. And life is very beautiful. It's getting ready to be fall right now, so I'm sure I'll be posting pictures of the changing colors.
Were you raised in a religious home? And if so, what made you decide to leave that behind and fare forth into the unknown?
Yes, I was raised in a very religious household. It was very strict. The constrictive atmosphere of the churches my family were involved in ultimately caused our family to split apart. That was very influential for me as a young guy. I didn't like seeing my mother and father try so hard and then suffer so much. They believed that good things were going to happen to them. In the end, I think they really realized that they had been taken advantage of, and that caused just such a deep rift and sadness in them that, for a long time, their lives fell apart. I can say that at a very young age, I got in a lot of trouble for asking the question in church as to why the devil or Satan could not be forgiven. And they were always telling me that to please God, I had to be like God or be like Jesus. And my question to that was, if Satan got kicked out of heaven because he wanted to be like God, why would I want to do that? What made me decide to venture into the unknown and to change that? It was a long, progressive journey. From about the time I was maybe 14, I got a hold of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, began to read that. My family was freaked out, did everything they could to brainwash it out of me, including, sending me away, preaching at me, punishing me. Ultimately, when I began to have children, I did my best to conform and do what society and my family wanted me to do. And as I began to really take a look at the Greek texts and the things that were said in the Bible, I began to realize in their classes they were giving me that something didn't jive there. And so it was a long struggle for me to tear away from that philosophy. It was so ingrained there. That is all I had known, other than the opposing literature that I had read since I was very young. I do remember around 2000, I started saying myself, I don't want anyone else telling me what to do. I decide what's right and wrong for me. And through a progressive chain of events, I was able to definitively, through my 20s and 30s, decide that philosophy wasn't for me.
How old were you when you first began your studies in the occult? And where did you begin? How has your path evolved along with you?
It began for me after 2007, 2008. The economy was crashed. I had 5 teenagers at home to take care of. And I got an opportunity to work as a mill worker for a company that was building a Tibetan Buddhist temple in my town. And basically, through interacting with the folks there and milling and building most of the decorative woodwork in that mandala, I started checking out and reading some of their literature. And I learned how to meditate from their tradition. I learned how to connect with the body of light and the body of darkness. But there was still a religious rule over the lives of people involved with that I just found distasteful for me. There was a dogma there. There was a superstition, a fear that if I do the things I want to do, somehow I'll be punished. And so at that time, later after that, I went to work for a local state college in Colorado here. And I had access to the library. And part of that was that I had a benefit of going back to school for 9 free credit hours a semester. So I spent a lot of time looking and searching for something similar to the satanic philosophy that would include meditation, that would include philosophies that were similar to the way that maybe my ancestors lived, thought, and how they practiced. And I was having a lot of dreams at the time regarding, the ancient Celts and old warriors and how they maybe have operated. How did they think? How did they live their life? Because I saw within all of those ancient cultures something that was similar to the philosophies in the Satanic Bible. I spent time studying the Church of Satan. I spent time studying Thelema, various witchcraft practices. And I came across a book called Book of the Witch Moon by a guy named Michael Ford. And I read that, and it really resonated with me because it contained the philosophy of believing in empowering the self and calming the mind and taking control of the self through meditation. And as I read it and read other books, there were details and highlights of philosophies and thought patterns and practices that many cultures had over the millennia that resembled, that satanic type of foundation. My path evolved from learning from others and studying how, the left-hand path is practiced. And it evolved into me beginning to create and add my own elements to that. And most of that I learned from reading the footnotes in the Order of Phosphorus at Michael Ford's grimoires, connecting with Austin Spare. Making connections with the writings of Peter Carroll and Kenneth Grant. And as I practiced the rituals and as I practiced the invocations, I began to realize that most of what I really wanted to experience didn't lie within the grimoires or gods or angels or demons. They They lied within me. They were within me to be found and to bring to life.
What has been some of your most significant spiritual experiences, whether it be in the ritual chamber or in day-to-day life?
My most significant spiritual experiences have occurred as I began to study and learn the Devi Asana and the Atukdano and the Ahrimanic practices that you can find in many of the grimoires. And that philosophy and practice really resonated with me. And it was exciting and empowering to find that the qualities of Ahriman and Az, or all of the Devas, whether they be Akuman or Aishma, that I could actually bring those philosophies and that energy and that those qualities and that character into my own life. And the most significant experience, as well as that, would be the experience of unneeded and unnecessary parts of the personality and the ego. And those things about yourself that you wish you wouldn't do or that you wish you didn't have, to see those somehow turn to smoke, and the stronger, more inept, more capable side of myself to come to the forefront, and for me to actually be those things that I always wanted to be.
Can you discuss what Luciferianism is to you? And can you discuss the order that we belong to together, how we met, the Order of Phosphorus, how it works, how does one apply, how does one progress through the order? And can you touch a bit on the importance of personal initiatory experiences and the importance of that, as opposed to necessarily jumping through hoops trying to achieve different degrees or titles?
Luciferianism to me is the process and practice of becoming your own God by challenging your own weaknesses and connecting with the adversary in both male and female form in a way that empowers and informs my goals and the things that I want to accomplish in life. For me, maybe not everybody, it's the idea of building a gnosis, of making a connection with those archetypes and with those adversarial symbols within the subconscious, and bringing them into my life via ritual, meditation, and self-challenging practices that are connected to goals, that are connected to my highest potential. Luciferianism to me is a philosophy of never bowing to a god or demon, whether you believe that they are real or you don't believe that they're real. It is a practice and a lifestyle of reaching down into the darkness of the subconscious and of the unknown self, and awakening those qualities and bearing that light to light your own path. I would recommend for the beginner, whether or not you join an order, to be vigilant about your daily meditations, about writing in the journal, which to me is communication with your daemon, with your personal God, and not skipping those boring things that don't seem like they're going to be very exciting. Again, I said meditation, writing in your journal, challenging those things within yourself that you would like to get rid of. Maybe they might be bad habits. Maybe they might be negative emotions, the negative thoughts. Conquering those things being honest with yourself that may make you weak. I would also recommend to the, beginner, don't try to please everybody. Be yourself and let yourself be who you are without being concerned with impressing others or showing others what and having others agree with you. And question yourself. Question everything that you read and everything that's presented to you. But just as important as that, question yourself. Learn about yourself and realize that as your path progresses, you're not going to be the same person next year that you were today. And realize that practicing this path doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to have hardship or that you won't have challenges, and that those challenges are there because you're actually invoking and evoking thought patterns and energies, or if you believe so, consciousnesses that went before you and conquered, destroyed, and created their own worlds. So this process is full of happiness, elation, joy, disappointment, times of doubt. All of those things are natural. And, the only obstacle to your success is you. Everything comes from you. If you want to be a success in this path, in the left-hand path, then do it with 200% of your effort, 1,000% of your effort. And when you fail, when you fall, when you make mistakes, write it in your journal. Make a plan to overcome that. You'll find that you have more potential than you can ever imagine, and that you can actually become, as Baphomet, the beast or Choya, as one who has risen and become a divine, at least in your own conception. It's not about dominating others or telling others what they should do or who they should be. It's about the formula of Samael and Lilith, or Ahriman and Az, forming within you to create a consciousness and a being that transforms into the conquering power of the adversary. The Order of Phosphorus has now moved their official pages and website to Luciferian Research Society. We can post a link here where you can find that. The cost for that website is about $10 or $12 a year. The Order of Phosphorus is not the only order that's involved in that website. Once you are a part of Luciferian Research Society, you can ask to join the public Order of Phosphorus group there. And the first grade book is offered at this time at no cost there. This is how it works. You work isolate, you work alone as Cain or as Lilith. And you do the grade work, which requires about 6 months of work of journaling and recording the things that you're doing. You submit that at the end of 6 months. And if you've actually done the work and challenged yourself and challenged whatever mentalities and behaviors in yourself that are holding you back, you'll be submitted into the order. As I stated before, the Order of Phosphorus is influenced not just by Michael Ford, who is, to me, a good friend and a learned magus of the path that, you can rely on for good information. But there are also other initiates in the order that are just as intelligent and adept and able to share their experience with you there. And, through everything that I've attended and everything I've been involved with, I have made good friends there. I have found the initiates there to actually believe in what they practice, whether they, actually believe in the archetypes or they don't. I can also tell you that for the most part, you'll do most of your work alone or by yourself. But you can ask questions there and you can share. I think the most riveting and exciting thing about the Order of Phosphorus for me over the years has been their willingness to let other people create their own rituals, their own art, their own influence, and to deify that individuality. And for those who do wish to join, you have a lot of tools and a lot of resources at your availability there. But that doesn't mean that in order to practice Luciferianism or the left-hand path, somebody has to join the Order of Phosphorus. The grades or any titles a person might achieve, that is a way of disciplining the self and gauging your progress. But having your own personal real experience of transforming yourself from the slave mentality into a conquering warrior or warrioress or goddess type of consciousness, that is the experience that Luciferianism should bring the individual, regardless of whether or not they join an order. And I will say that I've studied and am studying lots of other ways to follow the left-hand path. And the Order of Phosphorus isn't the only order that has good, reliable literature of the sinister path that will awaken the will and drive to become the adversary in this life. So, if you're initiating into one path or order, I would suggest that you focus on that until you've achieved what you want to achieve. But, don't be afraid to expand or even think that the Order of Phosphorus or one order or another is the only way to follow the left-hand path. Because in the end, the actuator of the left-hand path is you, not orders, not gods, not demons, not leaders, not friends, or commentary on social media. It is you against yourself and those things that hold you back.
Well, Eric, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you as a guest here on my channel.
To conclude, I felt I wanted to read a creed on this from one of my favorite grimoires, Akhkharu, the Luciferian Creed. I am a Luciferian and of Sheba and Set. I am a vessel of Ahriman and Az. I worship my own self-progressing divinity. I deny all religions which would sacrifice the sense of I. I recognize that religion must start within and be a mirror of my desire. I affirm my body as the temple of darkness and fire. I affirm my soul as the daemon god upon the throne in this black tower. The twin serpents are my key to continued vitality and initiation. I will seek to rise and then create my desire upon this earth. I recognize my eye is but the eye of Set. That as the serpent, I shall command my presence upon earth. I shall be a manifestation of the archdevas upon the earth. My actions will be thought out, and I will exercise my will in each action. I recognize there is no other God than myself. I am the serpent, Urvan, Ameratat, Me, Nima, Yah, E, Yang Deva, Uz, De, E. Banam, E, Ahriman. Thank you for the interview. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you, Eric, for sharing that passage. If anyone is interested, the book that Eric is referencing in his passage there is Akhkharu, Vampyre Magick by Michael W. Ford. And what he read was from page 25. So if I remember, I'm going to leave a link in the description to Michael W. Ford's YouTube channel, to Luciferian Apotheca, Michael W. Ford's shop, where you can purchase your own copy of Akhkharu, Vampyre, Magick, and any other titles that he has written. Additionally, I am going to leave a link to the Luciferian Research Society if you are interested in learning more about Luciferianism and engaging with other Luciferians. This is where you can go ahead and until next time, I wish you dark